Hello, everyone. We are so excited about today's little impromptu show that we're bringing you. I have two incredible people with me here today, Hayley Wilson and Briana Volk, and they are the founders, creators of this really incredible project called Collins Against Collins. You can go right now to collinsagainstcollins.com. Actually, wait, because you're going to want to hear what they have to say, and then you're going to want to go there and pre-order that book. But hold on one second, okay? All right, ladies. Well, before we get into this project, which I really want to talk about, I'd love to hear a little bit more about the two of you. So, Hayley, tell me, where are you from? Where do you live? What's your background?
Great. Well, I'm Hayley Wilson, and I live in Portland, Maine. I'm currently a bartender at the Portland Hunt and Alpine Club, which is right downtown. I've been there for a little over a year now. And before I moved here with my husband about 2 years ago, I had been bartending in Boston and Cambridge for about 7 years. So it was a nice transition up here for sure.
Wonderful. And Briana, of course, you are the owner of Portland Hunt and Alpine. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so just over 7 years ago, my husband and I opened the Portland Hunt and Alpine Club here in Portland, Maine. My background has been jumping in and out of hospitality pretty much through my teenage and my adult life. Before opening Hunt, I was actually working in advertising and PR and focused on hospitality clients, anywhere from like really big national clients to small local companies. So that's more of where my skill set comes in when we're talking Hunt. You don't see me behind the bar for good reason.
I completely understand. Same deal over here with me and Expo. Don't put me behind the bar, but I'm very happy to help with the rest.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I personally love your bar. For the record, I'm lamenting the fact that it's been over a year since I've gotten to come see y'all, but
it's been too long for sure.
Soon. I'm hopeful we'll get to come see you. Well, the reason we're all here today is that the two of you, along with a couple of other folks, started this really fantastic project, Collins Against Collins. Do you want to tell me a little bit about the genesis of this project? How did it get started?
Yeah. So during the midterm elections in 2018, I got a random text message from Alex Day. He was still living in Los Angeles at the time. He's actually a Mainer now, so we're very happy to have him here. But it was essentially like, what's up with your Senator Susan Collins? Like, how do we get her out of office? And he was like, we should do a thing called like Collins Against Collins, where we make Collins drinks and like raise money for whoever decides to run against her. And so it was just kind of this text message that started it all. And during the midterm, I essentially threw a website together really quickly and started enlisting bars around the country to, even though Susan Collins wasn't running, to focus on down ballot Democrats running around the country in really tight races. It was really important for us to, the Senate wasn't really up for grabs in 2018, but the House was, and to make sure we flip seats. And here in Maine, in our second district, we were able to flip a seat from Trump supporting Republican to having this really great Democratic congressman there who's actually up for re-election again now. And doing things like that. And so having bars essentially put Collins drinks on their menu and donate $1 or $2 or whatever they wanted to either local races, to the DCCC if they weren't sure where to go, and really kind of get the word out how important it is to vote and how important it is to talk about politics even inside the walls of your businesses.
Absolutely. We obviously share your ethos there. It's so important. We have to use every platform we have to share these perspectives and make sure that folks are getting the right information. There's so much disinformation out there, and it's really so wonderful that you've invested in a better future for everybody. So thank you for that. Recently, though, it sounds like maybe that project has sort of morphed into this other bigger project. Can you tell me a little bit about the book and the genesis there and what you're working on right now?
Yeah, so with the book, it kind of came out of, we were planning on doing lots of events this year and kind of really doing a big national splash. And then COVID hit and bars and restaurants were shutting down, and some are still shut down around the country. And it didn't feel appropriate to be asking businesses that were already really struggling to put out this extra effort, or to be, asking them to kind of donate anything or do anything when we really wanted them to just stay a business and survive this year. Mm-hmm. So then the book idea kind of came from that of like, what can we do? How can we raise money? I threw that idea to Alex and then my husband, who also helped in 2018 with Collins Against Collins. And then I was trying to think of someone else we could bring in because we knew we couldn't do it all ourselves. And I brought in superstar Hayley to help out, who's been really taking the lead on finding people, collaborating with them, making sure that their bios and their stories are being honestly told and told correctly, which is the fun stuff. And then doing like the tough stuff of like making sure the measurements are right on every recipe and all the recipe standards are the same. And I'll let Hayley take it from here to talk about what the process has been.
Yeah, it's all been new for me, honestly. Briana approached me in June about this project, and she's like, I want to get this out, soon. And basically, we wrote a book in 4 months, which is kind of crazy. And I was like, oh, we got all the time in the world. Like, this is totally fine. No. So, but we're doing it. It's really been, Collins Against Collins, Drinks for a Revolution is the title of the publication. And we, it's really been a collaborative cocktail book. All of the recipes are from LGBTQ+, BIPOC, and women bartenders across the country. We have over 50 recipes. We have distillers. We have personal essays, and it's been really cool to meet these people and, hear what people are doing and like what they care about and what they've done, especially since COVID, to kind of show their support and make sure their voices are heard within their communities and kind of how they've pivoted to at-home bartending or, more of an internet presence. But I've met like some really, really cool people, seen some really cool drinks, and we're getting everything, dotting the T's, dotting the I's, crossing the T's.
Amazing. I can't believe you did this all in 4 months. It's incredible. I'm sure as you're putting together all this content, some themes have popped up here and there. Are there any themes that are just like readily that you can just think off the top of your head that you'd want to share?
Yeah. So it's cool because our book is also split into regions. So it's kind of interesting to see like, West Coast, one thing was really popular, like Rockies, this was really popular. Something across the board that I saw a lot of was like spicy marg riffs. Everyone's like, let's do some stuff with ancho-rays. Let's make some cool shrubs. Like I want some heat in this drink and I want it to be cool. And so there's been a lot of spicy marg riffs, which I'm here for. So.
Same. Sign me up. I'm in.
Yeah.
That sounds fantastic. That's also during COVID. That's been the most popular to-go drink. So kind of checks out. So yeah, that's what the people want. Let's give it to them. Fantastic. As far as the contributions, if you wanted to get involved, obviously the book's coming out in just a few days.
Mm-hmm.
So that one's closed. Are you planning to keep this going?
Yeah, we are. We're planning on keeping it going. It's going to be something that we're going to. We're not just sure yet the cycle of like when we'll be releasing new editions, but it's hopefully going to be an ongoing project. The money is getting split between the DCCC and focusing on down ballot Democrats, but then also we're donating to Radical Exchange, which focuses on intersectional education in the hospitality industry. So we want to be able to like give back to the people who are giving to us within the industry and really focus on education for, as many people as possible. So
fantastic.
Because the election cycle is, the big ones are every 2 and 4 years. So we wanted to be able to still do something in between that was still making a difference, like within our community and within the industry.
Absolutely. I think a lot of folks think that after November 3rd, this is not going to be an issue. I think we're going to be doing this for a while, y'all. So strap in. Yeah, we've got a lot more work to do. So, hopefully things go pretty well in a couple of days. But I love that you're thinking about this long term because we're going to have work to do, especially our industry as we're recovering from COVID. We're going to have so much to do over the next few months, and getting as many people as possible involved and educated and up to date on all of the issues that face us is so important. So I love how you're thinking about this project, and it is something that can live on. And can be shared. So thank you all so much for making it. So let's say you want to get your hands on a copy of this book. Where do you do it? What do you do?
Well, we have our website, collinsagainstcollins.com. There's a big old button right in the top that says pre-order now. And it's really, really important, especially now, to pre-order because, one of the main goals of this book is to raise money. All of the money is being donated. So half is going to the DCCC. We're doing a drop of donations this weekend for the final push, kind of for, campaigns across the country. So it's really important to pre-order now. It's right on the website up in the top right-hand corner. You should see a pre-order the book. There she is. And it'll be dropped to you on, election day. We thought that was pretty fitting. So yeah, all the money's going to DCCC and Radical Exchange.
Amazing. I can tell all of you it takes about 2 minutes to buy this book, and it is worth it. It took me 2 minutes this morning. I know it'll only take you 2 minutes too. Amazing. Well, I would love to hear a little bit more about kind of what you're thinking about in the future. So you're going to keep this project going. Are there other initiatives or other issues that you're thinking about tackling with this amazing work that you're doing?
I think one of the important things with this book, and one of the things that I've actually been seeing more and more, is the idea of being political behind your bar. We're so taught within the hospitality industry is you don't talk politics, you don't talk politics, you don't talk politics while you're working behind the bar. And, I think what it's done with doing that is it's really lulled people into this idea of not being able to collectively organize. Exactly. And we're seeing right now the effect of that with the Restaurants Act. And the RC has come together so quickly and are doing so much work. But what if we had had years and years of this work already done? It would have, I don't know. With the Senate right now, I don't know how much that would have changed, but I think it would have helped to make a difference. I would have think it would have helped if when the PPP first came out, instead of having senators like Susan Collins, we would have people like AOC who has worked in restaurants and understands the needs that are very specific to restaurants, be able to help write these bills that actually would have been helpful to restaurants.
Absolutely.
And so I think it's really, trying to push to tell people to find their voice as a business owner. I think it's really important. And I think part of good hospitality is ensuring my staff and my guests are safe. And if people on my staff have to worry about risking their lives to have access to abortions or healthcare, or possibly not having healthcare, or being discriminated against because of their sexuality or their race, I'm not creating a safe environment. And so, it's not the time anymore for us to be silent about those things. And I don't think, it is good hospitality to not have these conversations. I think it's actually good hospitality to be discussing this.
I completely agree with you. I think so many of us were taught those ideas that you don't talk about politics, you don't talk about how much money you make, all of those things. And all that's done it's given the people who are in power more money, more access, more, and it's given the rest of us less and less. And recognizing that, oh guys, I think we maybe were tricked. Let's get out of it. Let's dig out of the hole that we've found ourselves in. And it's so reassuring to hear that leaders like you are stepping up and saying it's time to change. It's time for us to get in there and be active and ensure that safe environment for your staff and for your guests. It affects every single person. These decisions affect every single one of us. So I absolutely agree with you. And as a leader in your community and a leader in sort of like the larger hospitality community, I think it falls on us to make sure that we're speaking up and we're saying, look, it's okay to talk about this stuff. In fact, it's important. We want you to talk about this because it affects you and it affects me. And we want a better future for all of us. No, I'm so with you. I love that. I think you're doing really fantastic work.
Thanks. And I think, I know some people aren't comfortable having those conversations too. And I don't think they should be having them if they're not comfortable. And, there's all kinds of ways for people to get involved, like phone banking, like you've done, Lindsey, to, doing fundraisers, to, running for city council, to, running for office. There's a myriad of ways to get and to be involved that all make really huge differences.
And you don't need to be like on social media posting every day about going out and voting, but calling a couple of friends and family members and saying, hey, have you done this yet? It's really important to me that you go to the polls. It makes much more of a difference. Like, to be totally honest, we know from all of the data that's out there, we know it's more important for you to tell 3 friends than it is for you to post something on social media. Exactly. So I encourage all of you right now, if you can, make a list. 3 people that you're going to reach out to and remind, especially if you live in Pennsylvania or Wisconsin or South Carolina, North Carolina. We've got a lot of states that are up for grabs. Even Maine, Kentucky. come on, I'm sitting here in Louisville, Kentucky with the possibility of having a Democrat be our senator and be our governor. Never would have thought that when I moved here. It's really exciting, very hopeful. But anyway, let's get back to the project. I would love to hear a little bit more about the kind of recipes that folks can expect. I know spicy margs are definitely a thing. Hayley, what else are you seeing in there?
Yeah, I mean, so because the name of the book, Collins Against Collins, you're going to see a lot of tall drinks for sure. But we do, we have a pretty expansive variety. We've got egg white drinks. We've got vegan egg white drinks. We have, low guys. We've got riffs on classics. We have stirred drinks, shaken. So there's really, something for everyone in there. And I am so excited to share this with you guys, but, you're going to learn a lot about what these people are doing. I think that's almost better sometimes, even than the recipe. Like, yeah, this is a really cool concept, but also like, hey, what is this person doing in Seattle that a lot of people are starting their own platforms and really getting out there and talking about what they care about. And we've tried to make that very clear from the information we were provided and share those stories and those organizations that people have started.
Absolutely. The stories are the most important part. I love that. I did hear a little rumor, Hayley, that you might be making one of the cocktails from the book for us in just a little bit.
Yes, I do.
Would you mind sharing with us? I'd love.
Yeah, of course. So one of our applicants, actually, her name is Kate Frick from Tonganoxie, Kansas. She was one of the first applicants that we got, and her story just really spoke to me, and her cocktail really spoke to me because it's got bourbon and Maletti, which I'm a sucker for. I was like, we have to do Kate's cocktail. So it's called the Back 40, and it's bourbon and Maletti and orgeat, lemon and Ango, and it's a Collins, which is super fun. But a little about Kate is, so her and her partner Steph ran a cocktail program at the Myers Hotel Bar in downtown Tonganoxie, Kansas. And they would throw pride proms to raise funds for local gay straight alliances for rural high schools, which in Kansas, as you can imagine, is really important and awesome. And she was kind enough to share some of those posters with us. So the cocktail, her page is going to be really beautiful and kind of a tribute to that bar, which unfortunately closed permanently due to COVID. So I'd love to share with you the Back 40 and Kate's cocktail.
Yes, please.
For sure. Let's see. I've got all the stuff here. I don't know if any of you guys have done these where you're making cocktails sitting down, but it's very weird.
I can't imagine.
Counterintuitive,
That's the only way I make cocktails, Hayley.
Yeah.
Brianna and I are both like, oh, yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, that's so strange, right?
Sorry, I'm reaching over. Look at me. Thought I had all my things in line.
I feel like, though, Brianna, if you were making the cocktail, you would also have a little cutie right on your hip.
I'm surprised I don't have one on my hip right now. The littlest one's still snoozing, so.
I'm going to start with a dash of Ango. Only buy the big bottles in this house because we drink a lot of old fashions here.
Of course.
I've got a half ounce of lemon juice. I've got another half ounce of Simple. And then Maletti, which I don't know if anybody's familiar with, or I'm sure you are, but it's a really fun Amaro. Really, you get the bitter, you get everything. This is going to go really well with bourbon. Another half ounce of this. And then orgeat, which is an almond syrup. I have Liber & Co., but Gifford's is awesome as well. You can also make it at home. But here we go. And then bourbon, I'm choosing Four Roses, which is my faves.
We're going to have a little Four Roses. I probably shouldn't. Brittany's probably freaking out, but we're going to have a Four Roses little tasting distillery tour situation coming up in a few weeks. So I'll make sure to send that your way, Hayley.
Their distillery is lovely. We were down there a few years ago.
So beautiful. And they are just the nicest people in the whole wide world. So sweet.
Shake this guy up. I'm talking to my husband off.
Love it.
I need the strainer.
Well, yeah, a little help. It's good.
It's my director over here.
He's very appreciated.
Right. Got some ice in our Collins glass. Strain this guy out. And then we top with soda. You guys don't have Polar down there, do you?
I don't think so. I don't know, though. And we might. I feel like we have every kind, because of where Kentucky is situated, we have all the Midwest and all the Southern stuff. Ooh. But we don't get the stuff from the West Coast or the Northeast, which, of course, I'm a New Yorker originally. So for me, I don't get any. I actually made black and white cookies the other day because I was like, we just don't have stuff like that here.
Yeah.
All right, and I'm garnishing with a lemon wheel, but Kate does it with bee balm, bergamot bee balm flower. Oh, nice. I just don't have those, in October in Maine, but they're really fun, tall, awesome. Crushable Collins.
Well, now I want to go visit Kate, and I want to visit both of you.
Right?
We just need to get a whole Collins Against Collins tour set up. That's just what's going to have to happen when it's safe.
We're ready for that. We're all ready to get out of the house a little bit.
I love it so much. Oh, good. Brittany says she's not mad at me for previewing the Four Roses thing. I'm glad. Well, I appreciate y'all so much for all the work that you've done and taking the time out today to talk with us. A couple of little teeny tiny, I'm going to share some voter stuff with the wider group. And if you want to pop some stuff in there too, you are two very well-informed, brilliant women. So please get in there too. A couple of little quick notes. Obviously, we have until November 3rd to get our votes in. So if you haven't yet gone, no sweat. You still have some time. Some votes or some states have been voting for a while. I know here in Kentucky, we've been allowed to go in and vote since October 13th. So there's still, but early voting is still happening in a lot of states. So if you haven't yet done it, I absolutely recommend doing it. If you've got your mail-in ballot, don't put it in the mail. You don't want to do that. It's past time. The USPS says they can't handle anything else. It's not going to get there in time. So make sure you find one of your designated drop boxes in your county. Talk to your county clerk if you don't know where that is. I guarantee a quick Google is going to sort you right out. Most states also have a ballot tracker. If you have done a mail-in ballot already, Google the name of your state, ballot tracker. It's going to come right up. I just checked mine a little while ago. The county clerk has it. They haven't counted it yet. They're not going to here in Kentucky for a few days. But you can check and see where it is. It's going to give you a little peace of mind, and it's going to make you just a weight was lifted when I saw that my ballot had been received and accepted. So definitely make sure you're checking in and make sure that you're getting that information. We know that there's a little funniness, especially in some states, about mail-in ballots. So make sure you're checking in on yours. Make sure that yours has gotten counted. So important. Again, tell 3 of your friends that they better get to the polls. Pick 3 right now. Call, text them today, please. You're also going to buy Collins Against Collins, because why would you not? It's doing so much good work, and it's a great book. So win-win for everybody. And then the last thing, if you see or experience any voter suppression, which is possible, it's not likely, but it's possible. There's a voter suppression hotline that Leo's going to pop up there on the screen. There you go, 866-OUR-VOTE. There is also a Spanish language option, which I believe is 866-VE-VOTA. So if you need to call those lines, please do. We need to report any inconsistencies, anything that feels wrong or feels off to you, make sure you report it. We need to take care of that right away. And there are a lot of folks, a lot of lawyers, and a lot of people on the ground who are doing their very best to prevent voter suppression in every state across the country. Okay. I think those are the main points. Ladies, did I miss anything?
Yeah, I mean, here in Maine, at least, it is the last day to early vote in person. So if you're watching from Maine and that was your voting plan, don't forget today's the last day. Go do it. But there's ballot boxes here in Maine that you can drop off at.
Awesome.
Yeah, and also if you've already voted, if you've already texted 3 friends, if you've done all that stuff, there are super long lines everywhere for voting because we're seeing record numbers and because of voter suppression. And
because of COVID, all the
COVID, like so many things. And one of the things, actually, I've been there's a woman who I'm Facebook friends with, and I've been Venmoing money to. Is she's getting people to go here in Maine to go get Dunkin' Donuts and boxes of coffee and drop it off with people waiting in line to encourage people to stay in line, because people are waiting in line for hours to vote. And if you can go do that, or even walk by and just tell people thank you, that little bit goes a long way to ensure people will stay in line and vote. And it makes it makes them feel better for having, putting in this work that they shouldn't have to be doing to be able to have their voices be heard.
That's absolutely right. And a number of campaigns in each of the states are also looking for people to come help out with poll work. We need people monitoring the polls on every campaign across the country. I know that right now in Kentucky for the Democrats, we have 98 total hours represented, and we need something like 2,000. So if you are a person who is maybe less at risk for COVID or has the antibodies, if you have the antibodies, please let me know so we can put you in one of these. But going and volunteering with one of the campaigns and making sure that the polls are being monitored and we're doing it in a safe way, and we're making sure those voices get heard. And, I trust every single person here, every single person watching this, to make sure that the right thing gets done. We need people like you in there just keeping an eye on things, making sure there's no funny business. Because there almost never is, right? There's almost never any sort of illegal voting. Like, that seldom, if ever, happens. The only time it happens is when folks on the back end kind of get involved in a way they shouldn't. So we need to make sure that we're keeping eyes on that, because the voters themselves are not the ones doing it. You're not the ones doing it. It's the other folks. So we got to keep eyes on them to make sure that everybody stays above board, especially in states like Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, South Carolina, Maine, Kentucky, etc. And there again are all the election protection hotlines. Make sure you write them down. Make sure that you know which one is the right one you need. Yeah, you definitely should write it down. I have it saved in my phone, just in case you see anything that's just doesn't look right to you. And if you don't know what voter suppression looks like, you can head over to the ACLU's website. They have a really, really great list. It's very, very, very easy to figure out what is and what is not voter suppression. And they'll give you all the details. And if you have a question, you can also email the ACLU and they'll let you know if, oh yeah, that definitely is, we'll get on it. Or no, you don't have to worry about that. They're really great and really helpful. They respond on Twitter. They respond on email. They got it covered. They're awesome. Well, I would love to have just like a closing thought from the two of you about the work that you're doing and why this election is so, so, so important to both of you.
Go ahead, Hayley.
I mean, this is the election of our lifetime. This is going to really change everything, regardless of how it goes. It was really important to me to vote for my friends and my family and my coworkers, that, our rights are being oppressed. And it's, if I didn't vote, if I didn't do something about it, then what, why?
Exactly.
Sorry.
No, you're exactly right. You're absolutely right. I think if our country was run the way that basically every other country on earth was run, we all would maybe be back at work and things would look a little different around here. Yeah. So even if it's just from an economic standpoint, we'll throw all the other crazy the other stuff that's happening that is unconscionable, right? And just focus on your pocketbook, your wallet.
Right.
It's a pretty clear choice. Fortunately, it's a clear choice for the people who are trying to do a little better. Briana, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I've voted in every single election I've been eligible for since I turned 18. Voting has always been incredibly important to me, whether it was, a water district bill in my tiny hometown and on the Oregon coast, to presidential elections. My first election was actually the Bush-Gore election, so that was an interesting one to have as my first presidential. But this year has felt more important than any other election that I voted in, and has felt more vital to ensure that people are voting and really are making sure their voices are heard, because we are at risk of, instead of slowly taking steps forward, instead of slowly, giving people rights that they should have had for centuries, we're potentially watching the few rights that people who, for gay marriage or for civil rights or for a woman's right to choose, we're watching those things possibly get stripped away and have to rebuild from scratch. And that's incredibly frightening to me. It's incredibly frightening for the people that I love, that I know will be absolutely affected by this and have been affected for years. But to watch, the things that they have fought for and are continuing to fight for get stripped away from them is just unacceptable to me. And I can't think of anything scarier than what the next 4 years could look like if Trump gets reelected and the Republicans have control of the Senate. It's not even something I want to think about. And
I agree with you.
Tuesday, but also, I believe that there are enough people out there who understand how important it is to see the numbers of young people voting, is really exciting. And, to see that, that people are really coming out and people are willing to wait in line, where, when you can't vote by mail or vote absentee and are willing to do it makes me feel good and is exciting to see. And, we have to keep resisting, and we have to keep fighting this up until, November 3rd and then beyond. No matter who becomes president, we have to hold people accountable and make sure that they put in the work that they're supposed to be putting in.
I think that last point is so important and something that we really want to drive home with everybody here. This is the beginning. We're at the beginning stage, and we all have a lot more work to do if we want to maintain the rights that we currently have and fight for more rights that we are deserved. There's no reason the healthcare system in this country should work the way it does. Doesn't work this way anywhere else. There's no reason for it. There's no reason we're all out of work and struggling right now. All of this, none of this needs to be happening. All of this could be better and should be better. And we should have representatives that represent our goals and our wishes. And that's not happening right now. So, we're at step one. Step one is making sure that we get back to some semblance of normalcy, but then we got to push even harder. And we as an industry could represent the largest voting bloc in the country if we wanted to, if we just organized and got together. So I think it's time for us to start doing that. And fortunately, we have leaders like Hayley and Briana who are stepping up and making that happen. So thank you to you both so much for this project and for all that you do.
Yeah, thank you for your time. Thanks you for the work you've been doing too. It's great to see that there's people like us and so many others around the country who are putting in the work and doing really cool things.
Absolutely. I have one more quick ask. These two amazing women are both sending me videos about why they're voting, because they're awesome and brilliant. But guess what? We need them from all of you. So we, on election day, instead of running one of these classes like we normally do, we are going to do a fun little all day why I'm voting. It's not a telethon because we're not raising money, but it's pretty much going to feel like one. Brittany and Michael Moberly are going to be hosting all day. I will be a correspondent from the polls along with Liz Porter. We're both working the polls here in Kentucky. And we need videos from all of you telling us why you're voting. The goal of these videos is to get all the folks who maybe haven't yet gone, just to get them through the door on election day. So if you can, shoot a quick little video, doesn't need to be longer than a minute, on why you're voting. Kick it off with your name, where you live, and then tell us why you're voting. As soon as you're done with that video, upload it at that link right here, pdxcw.com/vote. And we're going to do our best to get every single one of those videos broadcast during the presentation. We really want to hear from as many of you as possible, because your story could be the one that resonates with somebody. It's so important that we hear why each and every one of you is voting, and how important it is to you that everyone who's watching is getting out there and voting too. All right. Well, thank you both so much.
Thanks so much.
Can't wait to see you both soon.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.